Everyone, and happy Monday. Hopefully everyone has had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. For me personally, the market was open on Friday and it brought an awesome Thanksgiving treat. So we had quite the improvement in the market on Friday, which brought interest rates down to the mid to higher sixes, 6% mark for any conforming conventional loans, which is huge news. There is what we call a 200-day moving average of that 10-year Treasury bond. That 10-year Treasury bond is what helps determine mortgage interest rates. That's what the margins are based on. If we get below that 200-day moving average from a 10-year Treasury standpoint, that means that the interest rates are going to stay at or below the level where they're at right now for quite some time. So that's historically what happens. We are pushing the limits of that 200-day moving average, and this week is going to be super essential. This week is going to be all the jobs reports and jobs creation reports that are coming out, along with Jerome Powell doing some Fed announcements for what their plan is in their upcoming Fed meeting on December 18th. So a big week this week to see if we can get that little push below that 200 moving day average and keep these interest rates down into the mid to high six range. So we're really hopeful for that. And I'm hopeful that it's going to happen because that would be a nice holiday present as well. Also, just a reminder that on January 1st, the conforming loan limits and the FHA loan limits change for most of the people out there and for most of where, people are living and lending right now. The conforming loan limit will be 806,500, and the FHA loan limit will be $524,225. And of course, the VA has no limit to what they lend on. So just keep those in mind. Most lenders, including us, are already lending on those new loan limits, and we will be able to close loans after January 1st with those lending limits. So keep that in mind as you have clients that are looking for houses. From an on the streets perspective, I was actually in Vegas this weekend for a getaway trip with my husband, and we were doing some hiking, and we met a person who we got to talking to, and as soon as I told them what I did, he started asking questions about his mortgage, in particular his escrow account and his property taxes. So what had happened to him is that in the state of Nevada, there used to be a 4% cap on your property taxes, and that went up to 8% during COVID. And when he didn't realize that on his own property taxes that it had gone up to that 8%. And apparently in Nevada, you can do an appeal, and he was very confused as to what his options were, what he could do to lower his property taxes. So in speaking to him, I just thought I would share this information because it can be important to your sellers and your buyers. So most of the time when you are assessed for property taxes, the value that is on your property tax statement is based on the land alone. It is not based on the land plus the structure on the land. It is you're paying taxes just on the land that you own. So when you get your property tax statement in the mail, when they say this is not a bill, it's important that your homeowners still check and see what that assessed value is. Because if that assessed value is at or above or even close to the actual market value of the home, you're most likely overpaying for your property taxes. It should be 20 to 30% lower than the actual market value of your home. If you do have clients who have questions, of course, they can call any one of you and get a CMA to figure out what that value of their home is, and then compare that to their property tax statement. If that value is or does seem high, the homeowner always has the right to go back to the county assessor's office and request a review and reassessment of their property tax value. And they can use that CMA document that is provided by U.S. Realtors in order to help establish that value for the entire property and hopefully help lower that land value. Now, of course, there are other things that need to be taken into consideration, like special assessments and things like that might be tacked on to property taxes, but the actual assessed value. Now, when that happens, or at any time, you can submit that assessed value or that new assessed value to your mortgage servicer and request an escrow account review. What that means is they're going to take that new property tax amount, they're going to work it into your escrow account and lower your payment based on that new lower tax amount. So there is a process of kind of figuring out that escrow account and figuring out how to lower those property taxes, but it's certainly good information for anyone who has seen a significant increase in their property taxes or a significant increase in their property tax value and what their options are with that escrow account with that mortgage servicer. This gentleman in particular had a $3,000 escrow shortage, and it was going to increase his payment by quite a bit. And so he was just concerned in with what his options are. So if you do have any questions on what that process looks like, or your clients have any questions, or they need help in reviewing what their current escrow statement is and what to do with it, they can certainly reach out to me and I can help with getting contact information and how to go through that process because it is a lot of information. But it can be super helpful for anyone that is looking to have some payment relief for anyone that thinks that they are paying too much in property taxes. It's a good exercise to take a look at that.
Well, and with that said, us as agents, or even you as a lender, it's a great reach out point. I mean, just
Yes.
or a post on social media or taking an example. I mean, that's huge, and that could save people quite a bit of money. And wouldn't you be the hero if you were the one that brought that to their
Yeah.
attention? And not only what I love that you just explained is I've seen it on Facebook or I've seen like different like Nextdoor app where people are talking about this, or I'm appealing this, or I'm appealing that. And if I had taken the extra step and been like, oh, so do you know the process, or inform them even more? And then it's not only them, but all the other eyes on it. You just explain the process and what that looks like and where to go in the 20 to 30%. And that is something that we should be really educating ourselves on. Therefore, we can educate our neighbors, our past
Mhm.
clients, our sphere, our following, if you have one on social media, that is huge.
Right. Yeah. It can
Yeah.
be absolutely helpful to anyone out there that, has seen an increase, or even once you get that escrow statement,
Mhm.
encourage your clients that once they get that yearly escrow statement to give you a call. Not only is it important for the property tax assessment, but also we are seeing insurance costs go up quite dramatically. And the only real way that you know as a consumer is number one, if you check your insurance each year, or number two, really by that escrow review statement after that policy has already been given to the mortgage servicer and requested for payout. So that process is somewhat similar as far as shopping for new insurance, but it's important that your clients check both. And like you said, a social media post, a PSA, a call to some clients that you had that have purchased homes in the last year, because especially those clients that have purchased in the past year, they're going to be getting their first escrow statement showing differences of taxes and insurance by the end of the year into next year because it's assessed on a yearly basis. So that's important, like you said, an important touch point that you can definitely reach out to people for.
Yes, anyone that's bought in the last year or two, that should absolutely be a service that we're putting on our calendar. Or when we get it, you have the list of people that now you're reaching out to in the next
Correct.
week or two, and go through yours. And maybe you have an example and you can show them, or if they can, share their screen or send you a copy of it. I mean, it's just another added value. And I don't know if this would apply or not, because obviously if they're selling, but even bringing that to listing appointment and say, these are things that you can look for, and then in your next home when we go to buy. So even if it's not for listings per se, it could also be something that you might want to be reviewing when you're looking at the tax assessment as well as a
Right.
listing agent, and then bringing it forward into their next purchase and carrying that through the whole process, and then a year or two later. Huge.
Exactly. Even for
Yeah.
someone who's potentially listing, let's say
Mhm.
they want to, you're going to list their home at 500,000 and their tax values, 505,000. That's
Mhm.
something that they can implement or appeal before they even sell the house so that the new homeowner, the taxes will be less for the new homeowner coming in. You never know, it may help you compete with the home down the road that's listed at the same price and has higher taxes because
Yeah.
they haven't gone through the process. You just never know.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you. As usual, great information. I love it all. I wanted to just mention as well, I've been doing a lot of goal planning with agents. I ran, like I said, the goal planning workshop, and we're working on finalizing. It's called a GPS, which is goal, process, or priorities. and strategies. So really be thinking about your 2025 goals as you're moving forward in the month of December. And please, whatever you do, do not take your foot off the gas. Push it down, as so many people are taking their foot off the gas. I'm not saying don't enjoy time with family and don't show up and be present, but when you are at your desk and you are working, like go all in and really use the time efficiently. If anything, planning and getting some things implemented so that going into 2025, you're hitting the ground running, but you're already running because you're doing it this month. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I said, we met this guy while we were hiking. So doing
Yeah.
something that we love, we got to talking and he happened to ask what we do for a living. And so always remembering that, you can talk to people about what you do without having to sound like you're insisting on what you do. And you can still
Yeah.
get questions answered and meet some really cool people. So
Oh, I love that. Yes, be human because there's going to be a lot of
yes.
events and different things that we're going to this time of
Mhm.
year as well. And it's not to be salesy or sleazy, but just having conversation, being human. What do you do? And showing up in a good energy, and it will be, it will be reciprocated. So I love that. That's a great aha and reminder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Nikki. As always, we appreciate all the amazing information, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.